The prominent activist Frederick Douglass once said, "If there is no struggle, there is no progress."
Who does that? Who does that? Who does that?
It's now time to acknowledge the struggle and the progress that promises to create better lives for American citizens and their families. The Inflation Reduction Act. We, the people, expect clean energy investments that help families save on energy bills, strengthen the energy grid, create jobs, and achieve aggressive climate goals. Imagine legislation that lowers healthcare costs for millions of families and allows government to negotiate drug prices. With a cap on out-of-pocket expenses for prescription drugs and insulin for seniors, $2,000 per year, and ensures no senior on Medicare will pay over $35 per month for insulin. Millions covered under the Affordable Care Act see their health insurance premiums reduced by $800. A plan paid for by a corporate tax that will help American working families. The CHIPS and Science Act. That should help lower the cost of everyday goods, strengthen American manufacturing and innovation, and create good-paying jobs and bolster our national security. Landmark legislation will accelerate semiconductor manufacturing in the United States. The U.S. will compete with China by bringing manufacturing jobs back to America. And it makes historic investments in research and development to accelerate the industries of the future and advance U.S. technological leadership. Improving health care for veterans must be a high priority. The U.S. government is obligated to prepare and equip those we send to war and take care of them and their families when they come home. If you fought for this country, you should get the health care you need. In August of 2022, America signed the Promise to Address Comprehensive Toxics Act, the PACT Act, the largest single bill to address our service members' exposure to burn pits and other toxins in American history. Thank goodness for the Safer Communities Act. Coming out of Congress 30 years later, America has moved decisively to combat the gun violence epidemic by issuing dozens of executive orders and signing this legislation, which bans the manufacture of gun kits, making it illegal to sell ghost guns without a background check, and legislation that requires people under 21 to also undergo enhanced background checks. It closes the boyfriend loophole, which is a term referred to as a gap in American gun legislation that allows access to guns by physically or abusive ex-boyfriends or stalkers with previous convictions or restraining orders. And it also provides funding to address youth mental health. It's refreshing to see American leadership on the world stage again. America has worked to revitalize our alliances and restore America's position of leadership on the global stage. When Russia launched an unprovoked invasion of Ukraine, America rallied our allies across the globe to ensure that Russia pays a steep economic price for the unjustified war of aggression. Thanks to American leadership, international confidence in the United States has sharply increased. America and our allies are stronger than ever before. Finally recognizing the time to bring America's longest war to an end. The nation withdrew U.S. troops from Afghanistan and ended an era of a major military operation to remake other countries and refocus our national security efforts on the threats of today, not the threats of 2001. After more than 20 years of conflict, America acted decisively to bring our troops home from Afghanistan, promising to continue to conduct counterterrorism operations in Afghanistan without American troops on the ground. In August of 2022, the U.S. carried out an airstrike in Kabul, Afghanistan, that killed the lead terrorist, a key architect behind the 9/11 attacks. When it comes to addressing gender violence, America finally signed legislation in March 2022 to reauthorize and strengthen the Violence Against Women Act. The Violence Against Women Act is now reauthorized through 2027 and includes new provisions and expand legal services for survivors and support underserved communities. This act signed historic legislation ending forced arbitration of sexual assault and sexual harassment, protecting survivors and making it safer to report harassment in the workplace. The American Rescue Plan, ARP, was signed into law through an unprecedented $1.9 trillion package that helped combat COVID-19 and supercharge a historic economic recovery. The American Rescue Plan helped to get over 500 million shots in arm, distribute millions of therapeutics, and dramatically expanded testing capabilities. It delivered needed relief to families by sending over 160 million checks to Americans, expanding food and rental services, and providing aid to thousands of small businesses. It also expanded child tax credit that led to the largest ever one-year decrease in child poverty in American history. Because of the plan, American schools were safely reopened in addition to making an historic investment to tackle learning loss and addressing mental health. Presently, over 99% of schools are open for in-person learning. Before the rescue plan, only 46% of schools were open in person. If we think about American job growth, in 2021, the U.S. economy added over 6.5 million jobs, the greatest year of job growth in history. At the same time, America saw the largest annual decline in unemployment ever recorded, and the strongest year of gross domestic product, the GDP, which is the monetary or market value of all finished goods and services produced within our country's boundaries, since 1984. At present, America is investing in rebuilding the economy from the bottom up and the middle out, not the top down. In keeping up with the COVID-19 battle, America successfully mobilized the largest free vaccination program in the history of the United States, dramatically increasing the supply of tests and expediting the development of life-saving COVID-19 treatments. Today, over 3/4 of American adults are fully vaccinated, which is up from less than 1% in the early days of the pandemic. Because of covidtest.gov, Americans can order tests to be shipped directly to their homes for free. America also expedited the development of numerous effective COVID-19 treatments, including life-saving antiviral pills. In total, the administration secured 20 million courses of antiviral pills that have been shown to reduce the risk of hospitalization or death by 89%. America's bipartisan infrastructure law. It is a once-in-a-generation, transformational investment that would help create thousands of jobs and set America up to win in the 21st century. It will rebuild America's critical infrastructure. It will create hundreds of thousands of good-paying jobs, as it will increase our competitiveness for years to come. In 2022 alone, repairs will begin on 65,000 miles of roads and 1,500 bridges. This law provides billions in funding to repair bridges and roads and begin replacing every lead pipe in America. It also allows upgrades to American ports and airports, and it expands broadband access to all Americans. It also includes the largest federal investment in public transit ever and the biggest investment in Amtrak since its creation. No longer ignoring the global climate crisis, America rejoined the Paris Climate Accords and committed to cutting U.S. emissions to half of 2005 levels by 2030. America is also now making the largest investment in clean energy transmission ever. In addition, the bipartisan infrastructure law allocated billions to clean up abandoned mines and oil wells, fund research of next-generation clean energy technologies, build zero-emission public transit, and create a national network of electric vehicle charging stations. This bipartisan infrastructure law invests billions to protect Americans from droughts, fires, and floods while moving America closer to the nation's climate goals. In an effort to expand health care to millions of citizens, America took action to strengthen the Affordable Care Act. They did it by expanding eligibility and extending the open enrollment period. And as a result, the nation has brought down costs and expanded health care access across the nation for millions of Americans. A record 14.5 million people signed up for coverage for the current year through the Affordable Care Act, ACA, including 5.8 million new customers. Representing the country's rich cultural diversity, America is shaping a federal judicial system that fully represents America's diversity. Of the judges recently confirmed, 80% were women and 53% were people of color. America also nominated and confirmed the first Black woman and public defender to serve on the United States Supreme Court. Made in America should be a household phrase. America is relentlessly focused on revitalizing American manufacturing. The bipartisan infrastructure law made investments to strengthen our supply chains and encourage companies to bring good-paying manufacturing jobs back home. Among other measures, America initiated Buy American rules to make sure more of what we buy in America is made in America. This Made in America strategy will create hundreds of thousands of new production jobs and businesses across the country to win over economic competition for the 21st century. When it's time to make the big decisions at the election polls, we gotta ask ourselves the question, who does that? Then follow the progress of a great nation, and we will already know the answer to the question.
Who does that?